Hello everyone, this is an episode of Ask Ron with Ron LeGrand himself. How you doing, Ron?
Got out of bed this morning just fine, so it's a great day.
Woohoo, okay. Well, our first question comes in from Leneau Crawford of New York.
Leneau, okay.
Please tell me from A to Z all the necessary documents that a seller and myself will have to sign so I will own the seller's property outright.
Okay. If you're buying the property, the first thing you have to do is get a purchase and sale agreement signed by the seller. And while you are in the house, I would also get an authorization to release signed, which gives you permission to contact the bank if you need to. And then your attorney will create the necessary documents from there. So those two pieces of paper are all you need to get signed, depending on what kind of a deal you're doing. And I don't want to go into all of that, but you asked me what you have to prepare, and that's it. Purchase and sale agreement and authorization to release, there's nothing to prepare. They just sign it.
Awesome. Okay, question number 2 is from Balu from Texas.
Let me go back a minute.
Okay.
Of course, now when you sell a house, if you're installing a lease option tenant buyer, you only need a lease option a lease purchase agreement, which is on your Go Club site, and your attorney will even fill that out for you, but you do have to tell him what to put in the blanks. And he'll do all the other documentation necessary, disclosures and disclaimers and all that. So that's it. Very little paperwork in this business.
Awesome. Okay, so question number 2 is from Balu from Texas.
Balu from Texas, okay.
I understand that owner financing and lease options are very regulated in Texas.
Lease options are regulated, they're regulated everywhere, but lease options are a problem in Texas. You won't be doing them.
Yep. How do I use these models in Texas? Are there forms specific for Texas?
Don't need any. Well, you do when you're putting no, you don't, because you're not lease optioning. Sorry. When you're buying a property in Texas, you're either going to buy it by taking over the debt subject to, or you're going to buy it with owner financing with a wraparound deed of trust, or you're going to buy it for cash. That's the only 3 ways you're going to buy it. That's one purchase and sale agreement. You just fill it out, applicable to the kind of deal you're doing. So that's all you need. Like I just said, you get that to the attorney. They do everything else you need. When you're selling it, it's the same purchase and sale agreement, but it's filled out that you're selling it with owner financing. So you're going to buy them one of those ways I discussed, and then you're going to sell it and be the bank and take in a monthly payment until sometime in the future when you and the buyer agrees to pay you off. And that's what they're doing in Texas, buying and then selling with owner financing. No lease options.
Okay. Question number 3 is from Chris Monroe in Missouri.
Chris?
Hello, Ron. I've been listing the seller as additional insured at this point. When taking over a property subject to, is it best to list the seller as the additional insured or myself as the additional insured on the new non-owner occupied policy? Is there a big difference?
Well, I don't do either one, Chris. I probably should suggest that you list you as the additional insured, but just remember this. If you do have a fire, you got to get that seller to sign that check before you get it, because he's the one that's they're going to make the check out to as well as you. So don't forget that. I don't list either. I just list me. I just get your insurance with NREIG. NREIG. Go look them up. They'll save you a lot of money, and they don't care how you buy the house. And then when you get the insurance policy from your insurance agency, I just let them insure you, because if you're taking title into a trust, you're going to be the beneficial interest anyway.
Okay.
If you're worried about the bank calling the loan due, quit worrying about it. There is no department down at the bank that's waiting for title to change so they can immediately report that the property is transferred. Please call the loan due. Right hand don't know what the left hand's doing. And between you and me, they don't care anyway. They just want payments. Send them payments and then quit worrying about it. And make sure that your insurance company now does name the bank on there as the first mortgagee, or they won't accept the policy. Other than that, you could do it either way you just suggested or my way. It doesn't really matter.
Okay. Our next questions are from Marie and Eric Stawitz of Pennsylvania.
Marie and Eric.
So they have several questions. We're going to start with the first one. Hi, Ron.
Are they easy?
Oh, they will be for you. My question is about owner financing and contains several parts.
Okay.
We bought a home with owner financing where we are paying $500 a month until it's paid off.
Right.
We may be able to pay it off sooner than anticipated and would like to know how to approach the seller regarding the deal after deal. Is there a script for that?
I doubt it. but there is a script, and so really you want a discount. All right, well, I'll go through that for you. So you might want to capture this recording and play it back till you got it. I'd call the seller up and I'd say, look, Mr. Seller, you know that mortgage that I've been paying you $500 a month on for all this time? They'll say, well, yeah. I say, well, listen, I'm coming into some money pretty soon and I'm trying to decide what to do with it. And you are, as soon as you sell the property. And I can either pay you off now or go find some other cool things that I can do with it, because it's pretty easy to get cash, get a high rate of return. You know, I'm a real estate investor. I get a huge return on cash that I use because I'm active. So I was thinking, would you rather have cash now, or would you want to keep on making collecting payments till this thing is over? They're going to always say, I'll take the cash now. I'm going to say, well, gosh, in order for me to give you the cash now, it's going to require a pretty substantial discount because, again, there's a lot of things I can do with that cash. So what is the least you could take if I did get you paid off the next couple of weeks? And they'll give you an answer, and you're going to say, ow, wow. I'd have to have a whole lot better deal than that to turn loose of that cash. Man, I can make a lot better return than that. So honestly, what's the least you'll take? And this will be the only time I ask you now, so what's the least you'll take? They'll give you an answer. And I would say, well, you're going in the right direction. Just keep on going there until I get them down to what I think they'll take. Now, when they take, and you'll be surprised what they'll take. Mistake, don't tell them what you'll pay until they're at the rock bottom and it's still not low enough. Then you tell them what you'll pay, and only then. And all they need to do is email you that they will take that number as a full payoff on that house. That's all they need to do. You'll send that to the closing agent, and that'll serve as the payoff letter. Closing agent will cut the check for that amount, and then you get all the rest that's left over. So the closing agent will make the seller sign the satisfaction as they hand them the check. It's really easy, and frankly, that 2-minute call will make you a lot of money.
Yeah, you just answered a bunch of their questions. Okay, so the third part of their questions concerns how we then bring the deal to its conclusion. So yeah.
I mean the discounting. I just said that.
Yep, our real estate attorney. Okay, it looks like you have. What's the appropriate paperwork for all that?
I just said that too.
Okay.
It's an email.
Just an email.
From the seller, how much they will take, you turn that over to the closing agent.
Okay, you just
and
answered.
then he'll do the rest.
Answered
the attorney will do the rest.
Awesome. Okay, our next one is from Fernando Diaz.
Fernando.
From Connecticut. I have a lease purchase with the seller for 20 years. The PITI is $1,700 and I'm renting to a tenant buyer for $1,800. Since my company is paying the mortgage and taxes, my CPA is saying I can claim the tax and interest as a deduction. Is that right?
Nope, because you just told me you were leasing the house from the seller. You can't claim taxes and insurance because technically you're not paying them. You're paying the seller rent, and the seller's paying taxes and insurance. They get to write off the taxes and insurance they pay, but you get to write off the rent you pay. So it's a wash. But you have to claim the rent you receive. So in fact, you're going to get taxed on $100 a month, is what it amounts to. So it's not a big deal. But no, you can't claim taxes and insurance that you don't pay. I think your accountant misunderstood you, because I sure hope he knows that.
Awesome. Okay, the next one's from Mary Stead of Illinois.
Mary?
I live in Illinois and I want to do the real estate in other states. What is the name of a person who is a boots on the ground individual to take pictures of property, help with the sale of the property, and etc.?
Any realtor in the area where the house is. So you're just going to have to hunt them down, have a conversation with them, and tell them what you need, and ask them how they want to get paid for.
Okay.
Because what you just suggested, any of them can do.
Awesome.
And this is assuming you don't have any relatives there now. Well, maybe you better use a realtor anyway.
Okay, our last question of today is from Charles Dursteler.
Charles?
From Arizona.
Wow, good questions today.
What is the best way to move forward when a prospect has a reverse mortgage? I have a prospect that wants to sell her house but has now moved out.
Good question.
Yep.
Okay, let me tell you. A reverse mortgage means that if she moves out and the bank finds out, they will call a loan due. That was the deal going in. So I'm not telling you I wouldn't buy it, because I would, but I can tell you it's not going to be a long-term deal. I don't mind buying it on a wraparound mortgage, which is what I would do. But I got to know that I can't sit on this thing for 5 years, because I'm sure the bank is going to find out that they're not in the house anymore. So if I buy it on a wraparound mortgage, or better yet, if I at least purchase it, since I'm going to have to get out of it quickly anyway, I'd simply find a tenant buyer to put in there that actually can qualify for a loan as soon as possible and give them a short fuse, like a year, to get qualified. I don't think the bank would even find out by then, but even if they did, they'd probably back off if they knew that I got a tenant buyer out there trying to get a loan. And in fact, the bank might even want to get them that loan to get that debt paid off. The bank doesn't want a house, trust me, they do not want a house, but they do want to see how you intend to get them paid off. So if I can show them that, and I can actually show the documents, they'll probably go away. And that's assuming they even come after me anyway. It could be years and years and years and years, or they could never come. But you do not want to do this unless you're prepared to handle the mess on the back end if the bank finds out and decides they want to call a loan due. Plus, the seller has to be aware of all of this, and I would want my attorney to have a special agreement where they sign off clearly spelling out this to the seller in case there's ever any problem. We can use that against them if they want to raise Cain because the bank called the loan due. I mean, it's got to be clear, 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 and that's up to your attorney. Just one piece of paper with just an addendum to the package is all it is. Okay?
Awesome. That's it for today.
Remember now, you're taking title in a land trust. Nobody's ever going to sue you personally. So any lawsuit's not going to affect your credit or your assets. But it would affect the sellers if they sued, because they'd have to sue the seller as well as you as the new buyer, or your trust actually, not you. If you're okay with that, and you should be if you clearly understand it, then it's up to you whether you want to move forward or not. Some people just can't stand the thought of the so-called risk. Don't bother me one bit, because there really is none to me. All right, is that it?
Yep, that's
Okay,
it.
good questions this week, guys. Keep them coming. That's better than our normal questions, isn't it, Caitlin?
It is.
Okay, so that means our audience is getting smarter, huh?
They are.
Or you're just bugging them to send in questions, whichever one it is. All right. Guys, don't forget, we got an upcoming Mastering the Phone event and a Structuring Your Empire event, first week of April, and it'll be the last one. So if you miss it, you missed it. You missed it forever. And if you're watching this and you're a master, I am sure you've been told by now it's free to you. You just got to get out here and get registered. And if you're a Quick Start graduate, it's only $9.95 for both events, and you can bring a guest for free. Both events, not one event. And when you can bring deals, by the way, we will be calling leads throughout the entire 4 days. My goodness, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this as a continuing education event for Quick Start School. I'm doing this to make sure you can master that phone and to keep the predators off your door. I'm not going to do it again. So come or don't come, it's your last shot. Believe me when I tell you, it's not on our schedule for this year. So if I were you, I'd get a hold of my office and get on down here. And you know, the really cool part is on the second night, I'm going to take you to Iggy's, my restaurant, and feed you. For crying out loud, what more reason do you need to come to Jacksonville than that? See you next week.